Thank you very much, and I'm just going to have to encourage you all to recalibrate after that session because I'm just a very simple fisherman. I've got 6 minutes to it. Oh, it's come to 8. That's great. So let me kick off right now. The planet's home to 7.5 billion of us. Coincidentally, nearly 1 billion are overweight, another almost 1 billion are undernourished. Food production accounts for about a third of all greenhouse gas emissions. The food we produce, about a third is wasted. The food production's a key driver of biodiversity loss. Adequate nutrition for the first 1,000 days of a young human's essential, or really we're doomed. And marine proteins, an important source of, important for millions around the Indo-Pacific and of course globally. 2050, not that far away, 32 years in the careers of the young graduates in the room. This is real and present. As my introduction said, I've been in this game 35 years, so over the course of this, 2050 is very close. But by then, we could well be approaching a 10 billion humans if forecasts are accurate. By then, too, we'll have lost or seriously distressed 90% of our coral reefs. Acidification, which we've heard a bit about, will be impacting, is already showing up as impacting in a number of marine species, but that will increase. Microplastics we've talked about continues to be a major source of concern. And of course, increased storm activity and changing currents are already showing their hand in a number of particularly fisheries around the world and create extra challenges. Broadly, forecasts suggest lower equatorial productivity in fisheries, and again, already now we see species moving in polar directions, but that will be more pronounced in just 30 years' time. One of my favourite sort of learnings for the year is some material around planetary boundaries. It appeals to the scientist in me. It was described by Johan Rockström out of Stockholm Resilience Centre and our own Will Steffen from the ANU. It looks at 9 planetary life support systems and attempts to sort of measure and define the way in which they fit in order to support life on Earth. The diagram's showing here that of those 9 systems, we're really in the red for 3 out of the 9. A few are unknown or unmeasured, but for me it makes quite an interesting and thought-teasing kind of process. But with biodiversity loss, biogeochemical flows and climate-related phosphorus and nitrogens, things are not looking too good. The other thing to note in this work is that a change in these systems is non-linear, and these things are all connected. And so a catastrophic failure in one could well trigger domino effects into others, as we've seen with oceans acidification, climate change, sea level rising, etc. You've seen this sort of graph before, but it's salutary. Atmospheric CO2 continues to rise, global temperatures continue to rise, and this reality is a problem for a business like ours, and it does occupy a bit of my mental energy. Austral's based here locally in Perth. We're relatively small at around $120 million. We've got some interest in tropical prawn and in the north and toothfish in the south, but we burn 9 million litres of diesel a year. We emit around 32,000 tonnes of CO2 equivalent, which was the 2016 result. The northern prawn fishery is around 1 million square kilometres of the top end of Australia. We've got 10 boats working out of Cairns, but we're seeing impacts of climate change, most recently with the death of around 9% of the Avicennia mangrove forests in the western Gulf of Carpentaria. In the south, in the Patagonian toothfish business, we're operating out of Mauritius into Australia's sub-Antarctic territories for toothfish. Again, some of the early impacts of climate change are making themselves known, and we had some unexpected events last year that saw, for the first time ever, we left fish uncaught from the quota, which is unheard of. Again, climatic effects, possibility that El Nino had an El Nino event in the Pacific. It had an impact inside the Antarctic convergence at the bottom of the Indian Ocean. Our brands, this is uniquely to our business, but we've got some quite premium brands that we're growing for both the toothfish offer and the prawn offer. Still relatively early days, but they're our opportunity to have a conversation with our customers, get people to think about the sort of products that they're handling. And then we had to make a decision about whether we're part of the problem or part of the solution. The solution part it really turns on third-party certifications, in this case, Marine Stewardship Council certification, our Premier mentioned this morning. And more recently, for us, the decision to offset all of our CO2 emissions so that we weren't just complaining about this, we were actually doing something substantive. And that was launched with the Honourable Julie Bishop last year, and that's resulting in currently forestry projects for offsets, and this is an example of some of the work that's doing in Western Australia and the extraordinary rehabilitation that investment is making. The objectives for us, and this is the opportunity that we have through our premium products, really to have that conversation with customers about just the impact of their choices. We also have a strong belief that purpose-led, responsible business connected with well-informed consumers offers hope where often the political system has failed us. So this is really in that voluntary space. We also hope to inspire others, so if we're successful in this and we can demonstrate that we're able to make sustainability profitable, then we might inspire others to follow our lead, and really to prove that it is possible to have purpose and profit and make a difference. The unfinished business for us is really around the fact that in offering carbon neutral products to consumers, we're still really early. The concepts of carbon neutrality for the consumers are confusing and not clear. We have to get our own branding and messaging and supply chains sorted out. And frankly, there's a degree of scepticism about a business like ours that has stepped up and taken some of these decisions. But the conclusion that we have is that business as usual for us is not an option. The question, particularly to the youngsters in the room, is that we all collectively have to do a whole lot more. We need our best entrepreneurs, our best scientists, our best social communicators and peacemakers to get us where we've got to go if 2050 is not a train smash. Thank you very much.